with this upcoming election. January 5th is a huge date for us, and it's important that we do it again. We have to show up to the polls. We have to remind our friends. We have to carpool if we can. We have to text bank. We have to phone bank. We have to use all of our power as young people to be sure that our voices and our votes are heard. So we are so excited to be here today. Again, my name is Madison Potts, and I am president of the KSU NAACP, and I'm proud to represent and encourage students to get out the vote for this election season. Next, we will be hearing from Mason, the president of the Young Democrats at KSU.
How are we all feeling today? How are we all feeling? I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. I want to thank all of my colleagues for helping put this event together. I want to thank the church for hosting us, and I want to thank the New Generation Project as well for assisting in this event. I want to thank everyone for being here and helping to get out the vote. Most importantly, voting is a show of solidarity. Voting is putting the power in the hands of the people exactly where it belongs. And I want everyone to take the energy that I'm seeing here today. I want them to take it all the way to the polls and the ballots all the way through January 5th, and I want to see you do it when you fill out your absentee ballots. I am so honored and excited for everyone who came here today. Thank you so very much. And to be completely frank, as the president of the Young Democrats, I encourage you to vote for Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock so we can give Mitch McConnell 6 years of headache in the Senate. Thank you so much for being here, and I would love to introduce Ryan Cotton to continue the next speech.
Good afternoon. My name is Ryan McKinley Cotton, and I'm the president of the National Panhellenic Council at Kennesaw State University. I would like to thank all of you for being here this afternoon and seeing the importance of this event. Your vote is your voice, and I want you to take this energy and make sure you make a plan to vote in the January 5th runoff election. Thank you. And next, I would like to introduce the members of the Tau Zeta chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, who will be performing a step for us today.
Please welcome to the stage award-winning presenter, author, and philanthropist, Dr. Arthur Vaughn.
Thank you. All right. They told me I could take my mask off since I'm so far away from everybody and allow me to breathe. All right. One, I want to thank KSU. Can I hear it from the students from KSU that are here? As a fellow owl, yes, I graduated from KSU many, many moons ago with a graduate degree in accounting. I wanted to thank the students from Kennesaw State University, Miss Madison Potts. About 1 billion years ago, I was the student president of the NAACP at Syracuse. I love the work that you all are doing. Keep doing it. But what we want to talk about today is voting. And our students and our young people, you can make a difference. You are the difference. When we want to talk about issues of health care for you, health care for your parents and grandparents, health care for people with pre-existing conditions like me, we need you to come out and vote for Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. We need to understand that we need that 50-50 tie in the Senate, which means our Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will be making the deciding vote on whether you and I can still get health care if we have pre-existing conditions. If we want President-elect Biden to be able to pass his plan for reducing student loan debt. How many of you want $10,000 off of your student loans? If you want at least that much reduced, you need to vote for Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock so President-elect Biden can get that through the Congress and the Senate. We need to understand that you young people are the difference, and your vote matters. If anybody tells you it doesn't, tell them they're wrong. Tell them Georgia went blue because of young people voting about a month ago. If you haven't registered to vote, I believe there's a table out here today where you can. If there's not a table, you have until December 7th to register to vote in the upcoming elections. On December 14th, early voting starts in Georgia. Election day is January 5th. You don't have to wait till January 5th to vote. You can vote anytime for December 14th on. I don't want to be long because you didn't come here to listen to me talk. But I want to encourage the young people to participate in the process. Make sure your voice is heard and show up to the polls this December and be the change we all need you to be. Thank you again for having me, and have a great day.
Please welcome to the stage Lisa Cupid, Cobb County Commission Chair-elect.
Hello, Cobb County. And good afternoon, KSU. I am honored and humbled to be serving as the next chair in Cobb County, and I'm happy to be advocating for Reverend Warnock and Jon Ossoff to be the next senators of the state of Georgia. We know that they will advocate for access for health care for everyone, to make sure we rebuild our economy so you can have jobs when you graduate. And they also will be ensuring that we have clean technology and infrastructure. But you know, when we make big changes, we need to clean house. But to have a clean house, we need to ensure that they have a straight path to the Senate. Will you join me in that effort? Please get out and vote in January. As was shared before, you don't have to wait until then. Vote early if you can. Encourage your friends to get out there. We cannot be caught slacking. We know this is a holiday time, and this is a time for enjoyment, but we want to make sure we can enjoy 2021 and the years beyond. So please get out and join me as we vote for Reverend Warnock and Jon Ossoff. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage legendary award-winning actress Lynn Whitfield.
Hey, everybody. Woo! Is is this exciting or what? Are we excited? One thing I can tell you, all these beautiful young faces out here being engaged, you are exciting me. Thank you so much for being here, because you could be anywhere. So I think you ought to just give yourselves a pat on the back and give yourselves an applause and say, woo! Woo, woo! That's right. You know, this country is dependent upon the young people, and I am so grateful that the NAACP asked me to be here, and the university asked me to be here. KSU! Can I hear it for KSU? Absolutely. So now, look here, y'all. I want to know how important you feel. You must feel extremely important. You got to. Because look what happened in November. What happened in November is that Georgia turned blue. And I know I'm supposed to be, you know, not partisan here, but I'm just telling you, as a private citizen, we turned Georgia blue, and it was the biggest protest you all could ever exercise. So now I want to know. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I love blue. It's so fabulous. We look great in blue. All right. Of all the young people here, who's registered to vote? Everybody's registered to vote. Okay, if you're not, you've got a few more days to do that. All right, and we know that early voting starts on what? December 14th. And guess what? The day after Christmas, December 26th, you will be able to vote on a Saturday. Don't forget, if you don't get to do it before then. So I just want to remind you before I leave the stage that Georgia is the most important state in this country right now, because we are standing in the gap for every other citizen in this country. We are standing in the gap so that Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff will be sent to the Senate to help President-elect Biden and Kamala Harris change everything we need to have changed, so that all the ladies out there, we can have equal pay for equal work, right? So that we can have control of our own bodies, so that we can get investments into small businesses in this country, help to wipe out all the debts for student loan. And more than that, to have two men going to the Senate who will love you, love this state, care about you, and want everything good to happen for you in this state. So I just want to thank you all, your beautiful young faces, because you could be anywhere. And I just please, please, please make the Georgia election trend that we have stood in the gap for not only this country, but the whole world. Thank you so much for having me. I am so grateful to all of you for all your hard work, because, you know, it's kind of chilly out here, and y'all out here. So thank you, take care, and we are all going to celebrate at the evening of January 5th. God bless you.
Please welcome to the stage the Director of Youth Engagement for Warnock for Georgia, Casey Brock.
Hello, everyone. First, I want to thank the NAACP. Madison is working so hard. She's been texting all week, calling all week, and making this happen, so thank you so much. Also to the NPHC, the Young Dems of KSU, and to the Tau Zeta chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Happy early Founders Day. Ski bye. So I was asked to represent Reverend Warnock today, and I won't lie, at first I was a little bit nervous. I was like, am I the right person to do that? And then I thought about where this was happening, and I decided that I was. I grew up in Georgia, and I actually went to high school right down the street. I drove up and down Salisbury every day to go to Kennesaw Mountain many, many years ago. And I remember how that experience was for me as a Black woman. I remember being in Kennesaw and feeling like it wasn't really a place for me. I remember how racist it was. I remember feeling those microaggressions at such a young age. And I never really thought it was a place that I would be coming back to 17 years later and seeing people in a crowd standing up for Black lives, standing up for a woman's right to choose, standing up for people's ability to love whoever they want to love. I really didn't think I'd see the day, and we're here today for those reasons, and I'm so excited. But Reverend Warnock also believes in those things. He has been deemed the progressive pastor. He believes that everybody deserves the right to be who they want to be and do what they want to do, and I'm so excited to represent him here today. So there are some really important things that need to happen over the next 33 days. Y'all, there's 33 days left, okay? Number one, college students, where are you? Okay, college students, call your friends and tell them to request their absentee ballot. I lose sleep at night thinking about all the college students who might forget that they will not be on campus and they may not be near their school. Make sure they're requesting those ballots, all right? Anybody, who knows a high school student here? Not, who knows anybody in high school here? Anyone? Okay. There are 23,000 young people who are not eligible to vote in November who will be able to vote in this election. Call them. Make sure they are registered. Tell them they have the power to have their voice heard on January 5th. So thank you all for having me today. Represent. We are going to win these Senate seats for Ossoff and Warnock. Let's go.
We need your help mobilizing people to vote. So I need you to text ACTION to 51015 and help our campaign. Everyone, please take out your phones right now. Let's turn this energy into organizing action. Text ACTION to 51015. Help us get people to vote. Please welcome to the stage Daniel Blackman, candidate for Georgia Public Service Commission District 4.
Come on, let's get more excited about that. If you guys are ready to get Jon Ossoff elected and Raphael Warnock, make a lot more noise than that. I'm obviously short, so let me go ahead and adjust this mic. Many people are not aware of one of the most powerful commissions in the state of Georgia called the Public Service Commission. 15 years ago, I was in Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina, and I remember not understanding the impact of climate change and the impact of global warming on our planet and on our communities, especially our most vulnerable communities throughout the United States and right here in Georgia. What I did realize was that I know as a kid that grew up with asthma, and as the father of 3 black boys, one of which has asthma, I understood fundamentally that in our communities around the country, there was a problem. And many people don't know that Georgia is not only the #1 importer, but also the #1 exporter of fossil fuels in the United States. Many people don't know that there's a $29 billion project in Georgia right now called Plant Vogtle that we'll be paying for as a state for the next 60 years, which means that even if you graduate or when you graduate, you and your children will be paying for development when we could have invested and we could do more to support renewable energy in the state of Georgia, to support solar in the state of Georgia. And one thing I want you all to understand is that you're living messages to a future that many in my generation may not see. The importance of what this race means for the Public Service Commission, for those of you who have never heard about it, is they're the ones that determine what we pay on our electric bills and our gas bills. They're the ones who determine what our rates are. And in the United States, on average, 5% of a person's paycheck goes towards their utility bill. But in Georgia, 18% of what we make goes towards our utility bill. We have the 5th highest electric rates in the country and the 8th highest utility rates in the United States. And these are sacrifices that your families have to make for you to enjoy universities like Kennesaw State. But beyond our high utility rates in Georgia, we struggle with wireless broadband in this part of the state and around Georgia as a whole. When 88% of our prison population reads at a 3rd grade level, that's a problem. And it's even more of a problem to know that many counties around Georgia that are left behind, the children that are expected during COVID-19 to learn from home, who have to go to the parking lot of a Wendy's or a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A, their future shouldn't be mortgaged because of a few people's bad decisions to put profits ahead of our communities. So I want you all to know the importance of down-ballot elections. Yes, we're going to get Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock elected and give President-elect Biden a Senate majority so that we can move things forward like the decriminalization of marijuana and make sure that women's rights and minority rights and things in this country move forward. But we have to understand, as I close, because I know we're all waiting for the man of the hour, and I'm excited about what Jon is going to say and what he's going to do. But I want you all to understand the importance of down-ballot elections. Down-ballot elections, like in Glenn County, where Ahmaud Arbery was killed, we replaced the DA because we knew the importance of going all the way down the ballot. Yesterday, we elected Georgia's first Latino woman to be the district attorney in Athens, Georgia. And we all know that what happened with Breonna Taylor shouldn't have happened, but because of an attorney general that many folks in that state didn't vote for, justice was not served. And this is a position in the midst of social justice atrocities in the United States where we can address George Floyd's last words of "I can't breathe" and Eric Garner's last word of "I can't breathe" by supporting and fighting for children around this state that can't breathe because of the air quality and the asthma that they struggle with each and every day. So at this time, I want you to remember on January 5th, there is a 3rd name on the ballot. Yes, we're going to elect Jon Ossoff to U.S. Senate. Yes, we're going to elect Raphael Warnock to U.S. Senate. But you can also vote for Daniel Blackman to be the first Democrat elected statewide in almost 20 years, and the first African American to be elected to the Public Service Commission in Georgia. At this time, I want to introduce my friend, who I've had the privilege of traveling with around this state. Many folks have seen the fact that he's been an investigative journalist. We shared a friend in Congressman John Lewis, who was his mentor and who was John's personal friend. But the man I've seen on the campaign trail is someone that scared David Perdue enough to not want to debate him another day throughout this campaign. The person I've gotten to know is a family man and an individual committed to Georgia, committed to young people. He's a native of Georgia. He's someone who believes in making sure your college and your education is not spent with all your years fighting to pay it back. He wants to be your voice at the U.S. Senate. He wants to be an ally for all of Georgians to get health care. And he wants to fight against the failed policies that we've seen over the last 3 years. So without further ado, I want to invite my friend and our next U.S. Senator, Jon Ossoff.
Can y'all hear me all the way in the back out there? Y'all can hear me out the way out here? You look beautiful. I know we're spread out. I appreciate it. We're taking care of each other. Everyone just take a deep breath. Kind of look around. This is democracy in action. Right now, the eyes of the whole nation are on Georgia. And I've been through it with my team 1,000 ways. And the bottom line is that victory in Georgia comes down to young people in Georgia. And that means that the eyes of the whole nation are on young people in Georgia. That means the eyes of the whole nation are on you. The eyes of the whole nation are on us. And the stakes could not be higher. We're living in the midst of a tragedy, a crisis. More than 250,000 Americans killed by a virus that our leaders told us was no deadlier than the flu. Y'all heard him. Y'all heard Senator Perdue back in the springtime. He said the risk was low. He said the impact on our economy would be little. All the while, he was buying up stock in makers of vaccines and medical equipment, looking after himself, while he opposed relief for ordinary people. That's not right. We're living in the midst of a crisis, and in order to get out of this crisis, we need Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to be able to get things done. We can't let Mitch McConnell do to them what he tried to do to President Obama. And this is bigger than COVID-19, y'all. If you're wondering what you've been feeling in your hearts for these last 4 weeks, maybe for the first time in 4 years, that's called hope. He may not know it yet, and I know he's coming down to Valdosta on Saturday, but Trump is leaving. And Georgia said goodbye to Donald Trump too. That was you. You did that. Trump is leaving. We don't have to think about him anymore. We don't have to talk about him anymore. We don't have to worry about what the daily outrage or scandal is. And it's not just that the people of the United States stood up to reject Donald Trump. The people of Georgia stood up to reject Donald Trump. We did that, all of us, after 10 years of organizing and voter registration and mobilization. We made history. And now this hope that you're feeling is a sense of possibility. Because it's on us to write the next chapter in our history. But we can only do that if we win these 2 U.S. Senate races. We can only pass a new Civil Rights Act to secure equal justice under the law for all of us, to reform policing and criminal justice when we win these 2 U.S. Senate races, to make sure that there is accountability for brutality or racial profiling. We can only pass a new Voting Rights Act to secure voting rights for every American citizen by winning these 2 U.S. Senate races. We can only pass student debt forgiveness by winning these 2 U.S. Senate races. See, I got my first exposure to public service, as Daniel said, as a very, very young man working for John Lewis. And John Lewis taught about what he called the beloved community. This is a society where we recognize that racism and violence and poverty, they're not given, they're not necessary, they're foolish. Violence and racism and poverty are a failure of imagination. The only thing that stands in our way is corruption. We can have a clean, beautiful, healthy planet. We can ban plastic waste. We can end the destruction of our climate. We can make historic investments in clean and renewable energy. All of this is up to us. KSU, all of this is up to us. All of this is up to you. All of this is up to Georgia's young people. I don't think that what we're asking for is that complicated. Can we live in a society where every single American has access to affordable housing and health care, education without debt, a living wage? Don't we deserve that as people, as human beings, as Americans? Don't we deserve equal justice under the law, no matter the color of our skin, no matter how much money we have, no matter who we know? Don't we deserve that as Americans? It's about human rights. But see, the way our political system works, money buys power. Money buys access. Daniel Blackman, by the way, please give Daniel Blackman a round of applause, your candidate for Public Service Commission. Daniel Blackman was talking about my opponent, David Perdue. I don't even know where to begin. So you got a U.S. senator who hasn't held a public town hall meeting in 6 years. But he sells meetings for $7,500 corporate checks. Just think about that for a second. He won't come out and answer questions from us. But if you pay him corporate money, he sells you 4 meetings a year. He sells you a retreat on the private island where he lives. He sells you access to his home. Is it any wonder that someone who does business that way doesn't care about ordinary people? That's who David Perdue is. We can turn the page, y'all. KSU, we can turn the page. We have the power to do that. What's happening in Georgia right now is special. You got the young Jewish son of an immigrant running alongside a black preacher, the senior pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church, who holds the same pulpit Dr. King did, building a grassroots movement for health and jobs and justice for the people. And they're running against David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, like the Bonnie and Clyde of political corruption. It's cartoonish. David Perdue has been treating his office like his E-Trade account. Is it too much to ask that the people we elect to serve us and not themselves? How are you going to sit on the banking committee and trade all these banking stocks? How are you going to sit on the defense committee and trade all these defense contractor stocks while you send federal money to them? And all year long, what's he been telling us and what's he been telling the press? With indignation, saying he doesn't control his own stock trades. Well, it turns out they impaneled a federal grand jury to investigate this guy, and he does place his own stock trades. He's been lying to us all year. He's been lining his pockets while we pay his salary. Lying to us through his teeth about his corruption. David Perdue's campaign slogan now is that he wasn't criminally indicted. Is that? Maybe the bar should be a little higher for a sitting member of the U.S. Senate. How about we require every member of Congress to put their assets in a blind trust and stop trading stocks altogether while they serve us, so they're serving us? How about instead of selling meetings for $7,500 corporate PAC checks, we ban corporate PACs altogether so it's the will of the people that's represented in Washington? It's not that complicated. But KSU, I know y'all standing apart. I know it's cold. I know it's been a long and difficult year. I know many of us have lost loved ones, lost jobs. Our daily lives have been turned upside down. Our government hadn't had our back. Our politicians have been lying to us. It's been a year. But we have work to do. And I'm not asking you to work for me. I'm not asking you to work for the glory of a political party. I'm asking you to work because human lives are on the line. Because jobs and businesses and livelihoods are on the line. Because justice is on the line. Because human rights are on the line. And it all comes down to Georgia. And it doesn't just all come Georgia, it all comes down to young people in Georgia. So KSU, I need to hear you now. Are you ready to work? Are you ready to mobilize and organize and get out the vote like we've never done it before? Are you ready to go out there and make phone calls and knock on doors? Are you ready to register voters? Are you ready to tell everybody that you know that December 14th is the first day of early voting in Georgia? KSU, are you ready to win? Well, then let's do it. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for being here. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Lynn Whitfield.
Hello, Roland Martin.
It's not uncommon for you to be sitting in front of a church first lady. But this ain't Greenleaf.
This is not Greenleaf. I'm so excited because we're out here. The NAACP and Kennesaw University pulled together this rally of young people. People who have just registered to vote. People who have been in the streets protesting and about to do the greatest protest of all, which is to have their voice heard through the vote. Because these young people are the people who are going to keep everybody honest once we vote them in. And I'm in Georgia, the epicenter of everything right now, for Ossoff and Warnock. And this is a rally. We are a month out from the next election, and it's very exciting. These kids, your brothers were up there stepping, and the students are out here very excited and very engaged. So I'm very, very happy about where we are right now, but we have so much work to do.
Now, for the folks out there who don't know, who don't realize, you are a political junkie. Let me tell y'all something. When I was at CNN, Lynn used to be texting me when I was on the air. Roland, say this. I'm like, Lynn, I'm working. What you doing? I don't text you at work.
No, but really though, because Roland, throughout his time, throughout your time, you have spoken for our community clearly. And I had access to you when I was so upset about what they were doing and how they were making Sarah Palin a star. This was in 2008, and you helped me to understand how it works, because I did exactly what you said, So I just want to thank you, and y'all, we all need to thank him, because he is always on the front line no matter what. You're on the front line for our community, and I so appreciate you.
A lot of people don't want to hear celebrities talk about politics, but
I don't blame them.
But you also don't care, because you have always been actively involved in not just the election, but also when the election is over.
Yeah, well, you know what, Roland? It's not about celebrity. I mean, I just come as a citizen. I come because, my mother is 89 years old, and my daughter is still a millennial. I come because I really love this country, and I really am so upset about what has been happening over the last 4 years. So I'm not coming with any authority of my career. I come with the commitment of I just want to be involved and rolling up my sleeves and helping. I mean, look at I made this. I made that, my vote fashion, y'all. I made, you know what I mean? I just love America. This is a cool spot, and it has to be shared. So I'm not coming like a celebrity, I just come like a Baton Rouge homegirl.
But speaking of that, there's a mayoral election in Baton Rouge on Saturday.
I know.
And the sister is trying to get reelected.
I know. We're sending some stuff down, and we had a campaign event, virtual birthday for her, and they're trying all kinds of shenanigans. I mean, you know, I don't know what they're doing because she knows I'd be there if she needed me, but we're going to do some more virtual stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
All right then. Well,
Yes.
It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
It's
Glad
such
to
a-
see you out here standing up on behalf of Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. We appreciate
Yes, indeed. They are great men, and they will be great senators, so I'm excited.
it. All right. Thanks a bunch.
All right,
I
thank you.
appreciate it.
I can't even. Look, we can do this. Yay.
I appreciate it, darling.
I
Always good
appreciate
to see
you. Okay.
Always good to see
All
you.
right.
Young voters, it's been hard to turn them out, especially in runoff races. What are you doing differently from past Georgia Democratic campaigns to make sure they come out?
Massive youth organizing. We're running a huge community organizer program to bring lots of young folks directly into the campaign, recruiting volunteers, campus events. And look, COVID-19 has turned the lives of young people upside down. There's also a bigger picture here. Criminal justice reform, a new Civil Rights Act, a new Voting Rights Act, raising the minimum wage, action on the environment. These are all issues of vital concern to young people, and we're communicating that action on these issues requires victory in Georgia.
Runoff. How do you see the Republican resistance to the election results playing out for you? Do you think it's a help to your campaign that Republicans are openly debating whether to vote at all?
I see it as an open attack on the voting rights of Black Americans in Georgia. Because when Lindsey Graham, for example, calls Georgia's Secretary of State and says, why don't you just throw out some legally cast ballots and throw this state for the president, what he means is, why don't you disenfranchise Black voters in Georgia? It cannot stand. The attacks on voting rights are unacceptable, and it's why we need a new Voting Rights Act to secure the franchise for all Americans.
Cool.
Caroline,
Caroline, go ahead.
Mr. Ossoff, you are going to be on the debate stage against an empty podium at this point on Sunday night. How are you preparing for it?
Well, I'll be debating on Saturday, and David Perdue is pleading the fifth. He obviously doesn't believe he can defend his gross misconduct. And let me just say this for everybody. David Perdue's defense at this point now amounts to the fact that he was not criminally indicted. The fact that he was not prosecuted by the Department of Justice does not clear him of wrongdoing. He has been lying all year. How many reporters, how many news organizations received indignant statements on the record from David Perdue or his spokespeople denying that he managed his own stock portfolio? It was a federal grand jury subpoenaing banking records that found out he does in fact order trades himself. So he can brag about how he's not been prosecuted criminally for his misconduct. It doesn't make it any less wrong. And the people of Georgia are fed up with his corruption and Kelly Loeffler's.
Mr.
Jayla, go ahead right here.
Roland.
Can we go to Jayla and then we'll go to
Let me get rolling real quick. Then we're gonna, yeah.
One of the big issues Democrats don't typically do well with runoff elections. Are you micro-targeting the areas where there was weak turnout in the general, especially African Americans and young voters, in hitting those cities and trying to get them to turn out? Because that's really going to be the key. This is a turnout race, pure and simple.
This is all about energizing grassroots enthusiasm to get out to the polls. And what I said in my remarks, the story in Georgia is very straightforward. You got the young Jewish son of an immigrant running alongside a black preacher who holds Dr. King's pulpit, building a movement for health, jobs, and justice for the people, running against the two most notoriously corrupt members of the U.S. Senate. And it is absolutely about inspiring people out to the polls, defending voting rights for Black Americans, and making sure that everybody understands the stakes of this election. Thank you.
So there's a Florida attorney that is trying to get people to register to vote in Georgia that don't actually live here. What are some of your thoughts about people that are trying to get that to happen, trying to sway this vote?
This election is for Georgia residents only, and I denounce the conduct of that Republican official in Georgia. And we're going to make sure that we're empowering Georgians to vote in this election and to decide the outcome.
Mr. Ossoff, given that Joe Biden was able to turn this state from Republican red to Democrat blue, what kind of pressure do you personally feel if you're not able to do the same and turn this from a moment into a movement?
Well, we are turning this into a movement. I mean, look at the young people out here today sticking around in this parking lot. Y'all feel it? Yeah. We are turning this into a movement. This is a movement for health, jobs, and justice, being led by 2 Democratic candidates who are the face of the New South, building a multiracial, multi-generational coalition that demands better for the people, that rejects the flagrant corruption of politicians like David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. And we recognize the stakes. They're going to try to do to Biden and Harris just like they tried to do to President Obama. We can't afford that in a crisis, not when the stakes are this high. So we are getting out the vote like never before, and the young people who are here today are going to power that effort through to victory on January 5th. And everybody remember, December 14th is the first day of early voting. I appreciate y'all.
All right,
Thanks
thanks everyone for coming out.
Thank you.
It was important for me to organize this because I recognize that our vote is our voice and students have the power. I recognize in this last election that we really turned Georgia blue, and it's important that we use our power and we use our voice and that we do everything that we can to mobilize and not just go out and vote, but we bring our friends, that we text, that we phone bank, and that we use our power in every way that we can to be sure that we support candidates that are for our causes.
Now, of course, with your capacity in NAACP, that's separate because the NAACP does not endorse candidates, and so as you as an individual who's doing so.
Yes.
And one of the things that that Jon Ossoff was talking about, Raphael Warnock, really trying to get young voters to step out. And there are several different areas in the state where black turnout was not strong. What about that, trying to get to those folks to make them understand why the runoff matters?
So in terms of reaching out to black voters and young voters, I think it's important to meet them where they're at. So that's why we're so happy to even be able to be at Grace Community Christian Church today and to reach out to students and bring them to this location, because it's great to have events out in the city, but we got to meet students where they're at and recognize that and help them to see that there's power in their vote and help them to see that candidates care about their concerns.
All right, massively appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Jackson Smith.
Jackson Smith?
Yes.
All right.
My daughter Leslie Smith. My son Jackson Smith.
All right, so who's eligible voter?
Me.
Just you?
He's coming.
He's coming?
But me.
But you made a point to make sure to bring them out here.
That's why I came. Exposure. Exposure. Just to see all the students, young people who care and want to be out here themselves. So that mainly was it. Yeah.
You wish y'all could vote this election? How old are you?
14.
14?
17.
17. Oh, see, you bet almost. He almost made the cut. Almost made the cut. Almost made the cut.
Right.
What's the most important issues for both of you that you want to hear these candidates address?
Oh.
Don't look at her. I asked you.
I guess like the minimum wage. So I'm gonna get a job soon, so seeing that go up would be good.
Yes.
Help me a lot.
So I take it you want $15 an hour.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no.
I got you. How about you?
I don't really know.
Well, there's got to be one thing that you care about, even though you're 14.
Money.
Yeah, money.
Right, okay.
Minimum wage going up. I'm gonna get a job soon.
Yeah, I want to get a job soon.
Well, you got 4 years before you can vote, so I'll give you a little slack there. So, all right, then. Well, it's good seeing y'all.
Thank you.
All right, then. Okay, let's see who else I want to talk to. All right, yo. Okay, seriously. It is not that cold. It is not that cold. This is not Chicago or Minneapolis. All right, then. So, what brought y'all out here?
Well, I'm a part of KSU's NAACP.
Right.
My friend Madison, she's president, so I came out for support, gain more knowledge, and just be a part of the movement.
Do you believe that these candidates, Ossoff and Warnock, are speaking to the issues that you care about?
Yes. Them coming out here alone is spoken of. Just coming out here, like she said before, like, traveling is fine, but for people to be able to come out here in close proximity to us, it really does matter, and you actually get more of an outcome with everyone being here and everything.
How about you?
Yes, I believe that them coming out it definitely helped me gain more knowledge, knowing that they are representing more for the Black community and also for college students. Like, that's everything that I am right now. So I do appreciate them coming out and just me getting that more information and getting that voice as well.
So I've said this here, that so if you look at the numbers, millennials and Gen Z is a larger group of the population than baby boomers. And I've had some folks who are millennials and Gen Z tweet me, they say, well, I wish you older voters didn't do this, this, this. My response is, if you don't vote, you're actually letting somebody else make the choice. So in your conversations with your peers who have said, voting's irrelevant, I don't care, all the candidates are the same, it's a waste of time. How, first of all, have you heard that? And then how have you responded to them?
Okay, for me, with my grandfather being heavily involved with like civil rights movements and everything, like in his time when he was younger and was able to move around, for me, it's just like I was raised into it, so it's like it's just second nature. But my main response for that is it's like we had so many people fight for us to get this right, get this opportunity. Why sit here? Like, why just sit on it? Even if you feel like it doesn't matter, you have the opportunity, you have the right, go out and vote, get it done, and you know what I'm saying, exercise your rights. That's the main thing. We had so many people fight for it, so I don't understand why anybody would just sit around and not do it.
Have any of these conversations for you turned into arguments?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, honestly, I'm not the type of person, I don't really like arguments, but I do get my point across. So when I do talk to my friends and stuff, I'm like, yes, it's important. This is why, because they don't really come to me. They tell me their reasoning, but I'm like she said, it doesn't hurt. It only helps. So we got that voice. So why